Hello everyone and welcome. I'm really happy to join this Stencil Sunday with my host Christy of Funky Junk Inspiration and Mary of the Painted Peach. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Alicia and my page is SIGNSHACK. I'm an ambassador for the Stencil Smith. Any stencils that I'm using here are from the Stencil Smith. I got these cute little spell books from Michael's, and they open up, they're hinged, and I'll show you later. I painted this first one in Fusion Mineral Tuscan, and I dry brushed some black through it to give it like an aged look. And then I took a stencil. These are Spellbook stencils from the Stencil Smith. They're super cool. You could do this on, like I said, this is a wood box from Michael's, or you could use even a book, like an old hardcover book or something like that. Paint it up and stencil this on it. Pick some up at maybe the Goodwill or a thrift store or something like that. How fun would that be? But anyhow, when I stencil, I'm using my stencil brushes also from the Stencil Smith, and I've tried a lot of stencil brushes. To me, these are the best out there. They're really, really good. And when you're stenciling, the biggest trick to not getting bleeds is to offload. So every time in between coats, I just get a little bit of paint on my brush and I offload it onto a shop towel. I just picked that up there to peek and see if it was at where I wanted it, like the darkness I wanted it. I'm using this other Fusion Mineral color called Azure, and I'm going to kind of real lightly fade it in the witch there to give her like a little bit of a glow there. It looks really pretty. I'm not pressing down very hard. I'm just very, very lightly going over that. It makes it look kind of spooky. And then I flip it over on the side here because these spell books have really neat spines already made up on the stencil. And then, of course, these books are thick enough for this particular stencil. They fit it perfectly. And I'm stenciling that again with offloading in between coats in black. I'm going to paint the little things on the end. I painted them in black and went over it with that Azure from Fusion Mineral, but I wasn't happy with it. So I ended up going back over it with Deco Art's Glorious Gold, and I like that a lot better. I did do the hat, that little bit of that hat in that blue too. I just highlighted it in blue. So again, I wanted to go over those little slashes on the end in Glorious Gold. There you go. So we got that spellbook done, and I think it turned out really cute. Now the middle part where like the pages are, I painted that black ahead of time, and I got a chip brush and I took that Glorious Gold and just kind of drug it over the pages. And to me, it looks like the pages of a book when you're looking at it. Like they had gold on it, and perhaps it's fading. And with that black, I think it works perfectly with a Halloween book. I don't know if you've ever made a spell book before, but I think they're pretty cool. I'm going to use these to put candy for my grandkids for Halloween. I made 3 of them. And I'm going to make, just put a bunch of Halloween candy in there and give them to keep. I'm closing the bridges here on this book. So I have a liner brush, and you just get a little bit of paint and you close those little bridges, which are the place where they have to leave a little dash, a part of the stencil, so like an O doesn't fall through or something like that. Now, I will tell you black is the easiest to close. White tends to show, so when I do white, lots of times I like to distress them. But it's really easy to do. I know I've sped this up, but it really doesn't take that long. And I think it gives it a really nice finished look, especially when you're closing bridges on a cursive font. It looks just absolutely gorgeous when you do that. So I'm going to distress the edges here just a bit, rough it up, make it look very weathered. Going to go over the top of that and just sand away with my little gator sander. I like distressing things a lot. I just think it gives it a weathered, worn, nice look. I'm dragging a little bit more of the black through that Tuscan on my stencil brush and going around the edges that I sanded. It just gives it a more weathered look. I really like it. I hope you do. I think my grandkids are going to really like it. Now here I'm going to do another one. I think everybody's a fan of Hocus Pocus, which, fun fact, I had never watched Hocus Pocus before until a couple years ago. I watched it with my grandson. I wanted to see what all the fuss was about, and I really did like it. I thought it was a cute movie. So this is another spell book, and it's another one. I think they're like 5x7 that I got from Michael's. I think they're like $8.99 a piece, and then there's always a sale. I think when I got mine, they were like 35% off. But when I'm painted the whole book black, front, back, everything just basic black. And when you're stenciling over black, it's really hard to get those colors to pop because it's so dark. So I went over this first with gray. So I used slate gray from Deco Arts and just go over the entire stencil ahead of time with that slate gray. And it gives it a nice base to make those colors pop on it. And then I am going to use this purple here from Deco Arts. I think it was like Purple Iris or something like that. Or maybe it was Dioxide Purple. I can't quite remember. And I'm just stenciling the Sanderson stencil, or the Sanderson sisters, getting tongue-tied there, and Spellbook. And I'm going to go over that twice with my brush, but I'm going to go over it just once and give it a good coating. I'm just checking to see how it looks on that black, because purple on black can be hard to see. And I was really trying to make sure that it looked okay, and it did. That was Citron Green there, I believe, that I used. Also Deco Arts, and I'm stenciling the beginner's spells and charms with that. And like I said, I'm going to have to do one coat, and then I'm going to have to go back and do a second coat. But the stars, I put Glorious Gold on. I think I end up changing it at the end. I go back and use a yellow Little Star Fusion Mineral. So I'm going back over with that second coat. When you're stenciling, you typically have to do at least 2 coats. Sometimes black, you can get away with 1 coat. Sometimes if you're going for a very distressed look, you can also go with 1 coat. But I want to make sure these colors really, really pop here. And so I'm giving that a good go over. And then I'm going to pick up that Citron Green again, and I'm going to go over that one more time. The Beginner Spells and Charms. And I get that done. And I'm going to pick up, I'm doing gold again, but I think I do end up changing that at the end. We'll see. It might be a surprise to me. Okay, so this is some really bright pink. I think it's Joyful Pink. And I was going over the Sanderson Sisters Spellbook, the purple, to brighten it up just a bit. And I am doing it kind of willy-nilly, splotchy, not solid. I'm making it look kind of tie-dye, I guess you could say. It's not solid. It's just kind of all over random-like. And I like that, and I end up putting some more back on it. And it really made that purple being so dark against the black pop. It ends up looking really cool, and it's a really neat effect to do that. It took a lot here to get it to where I wanted. So now I'm going to take some forest green, I think I've got here, and I've got a real little stencil brush. They have these little micro brushes at the Stencil Smith. They're 1/8 inch, and they're perfect for something like this. And I'm going to stencil the top. I'm going to make the letters variegated. So it's going to go dark green to that citron green. And I decided, this is when I finally decided I was going to take a little brush and I was going to do it yellow. I didn't think the gold looked super on it, so I wanted to switch it up to a really bright yellow. What do you think? I really like how that turned out, and can you see how the pink really made it pop? So I'm going to flip it over to the side here, and I do use that other Spellbook to brace up part of the stencil. It makes it easier because it's going to flop over and pull up. So it's the same height, so it makes it really easy to do. And again, I'm going to go over with my slate gray because I'm stenciling on black, and I got to make that pop. And I was undecided what colors I wanted to use, but I decided to go with the title being in that citron green. And I'm doing one coat and then giving it a quick little dry there. And I'm going to do a second coat. And I'm always offloading. I'm offloading onto that shop towel. If you don't offload before you put your stencil brush on there, you're really going to get bleeds. And those are not fun to clean up. So I'm doing a little bit of purple on those little slashes. And I think I'm going to go over here. I made this video about a couple weeks ago. There we go. I'm going to go over it with that green. So that's forest green I'm going over with it. And these are all either Fusion Mineral paints or Deco Arts paints. And I took a little bit of that Joyful Pink and I also put it on the purple. But I think it turned out really cute. And I'm going to take some wax. What do I got? Oh, no, this is what I did. This is Galaxy Glitter. Let me tell you, Galaxy Glitter is so cool. And it's in the gold. This is the Galaxy Glitter Gold. They have all different colors. And I take a liner brush and I put it on those stars on top of that yellow. And it really, I'm doing it very fast because I sped the video up here, but it really gives it a zing and a sparkle. It's super pretty. It's just a bunch of big glitter. It's really pretty. And it really will sparkle. So I'm going to, let's see, what am I going to do here? Oh, I'm going to get the sides of my books. So I'm going and I'm putting that gold on a chip brush. And I'm dragging it along the page's edges again to make it look like a book. And it turned out super cool. I'm also going to put a little bit of wax. I'm sanding it just a titch, roughing it up, distressing it just a little bit on the edges. And I'm going to use this, this is a copper wax. So it's a copper wax from Fusion Mineral. And I thought it would look super cool on this book. And you put it on, you could see the difference there. And you put your wax on and then you take it off. You wipe it off with a cloth. This is another book I made. This was the Book of Spells. So I made 3 of them. Like I said, I have 3 grandsons, so they are each getting one. I'm going to fill them full of candy and then send them home. Please make sure to watch the entire playlist and subscribe to my page. Thank you.